I think the reason audiences have been so captivated by my new talk, Your Year of Wonders, is because it gives them a glimpse of their future self, 10 or 15 years down the road, looking back in awe at how the seeds of their next great achievement were planted during such a crazy time of disruptive change in their industry and their company.
Modern neuroscience shows that strange and unexpected changes in our external environment act like an alarm clock that wakes up creative superpowers in our brains that most of us didn't even know we had. Newton had seen an apple fall from a tree hundreds of times before. I mean, he literally grew up with an apple orchard in his backyard. But it wasn't until the confusing, frustrating, frightening absurdity of a sudden plague epidemic that Newton's newly unleashed creative superpowers finally connected the dots between a falling apple and the force of gravity.
I think their eyes widen because it reminds audiences that their own big breakthroughs, their years of wonder, have always happened during times of upheaval just like this.
Sit up straight, square your shoulders, and say, but growth is happening. Growth is happening. Can we try it? Let's try it. All right, so I'm going to say change is hard, and you're going to say, good. Now this time, square your shoulders. All right? So listen, guys. I know I've been going through a lot of change lately, and I know that change is hard. Well done. Well done. You guys are quick learners. I don't care what anybody says about you. Because that's what we're here to talk about today, right? One team, one future. 10, 20, 30 years from now, the leaders who are going to carry on your legacy are going to be able to look back and say, all the success that we enjoy right now, all the positive impact that we are able to have on our customers, on our communities, began on the edge of chaos when this group of change agents boldly and courageously decided to step up and fully embrace this once-in-a-career opportunity for true transformation. Not in spite of all the change, not in spite of all the chaos, not in spite of all the uncertainty, but precisely because of it.
Welcome to your Year of Wonders.
A few years ago, the founder and chairman of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, walked into one of his favorite and oldest stores in downtown Seattle. And when he walked in the door, the first thing he noticed was not the scent of freshly brewed coffee. It was actually the stench of burnt cheddar cheese. Cheese that had melted off one breakfast sandwich, landed on the oven grates, and then continued burning over and over and over again with every new sandwich that was sold and served that day. And that is when the light bulb switched on for Howard Schultz. That was his falling apple moment. See, in the months leading up to this, Starbucks had been faced with a dramatically changing world. Changes in their competitive pressures, changes in the economy, and all this change had started to impact the business. And for the first time in company history, the year before, Starbucks sales growth had plateaued. Never happened before, and it had plateaued. And Schultz was seeing the writing on the wall all along, right? This wasn't news to him. But he's telling everybody what we need to do to get back on the path to growth is we need to reassert our coffee authority. Reassert our coffee authority. He's telling everybody we need to reassert our coffee authority, reassert our coffee authority. But the message hadn't been getting through, and he wasn't quite sure why until that encounter in the store that day. So he then decided to take one of the company's most popular and profitable products, breakfast sandwiches, and he pulled them from the shelves of all 16,000 Starbucks stores in the universe. Wall Street analysts thought he'd lost his mind. But as leaders yourselves, how do you think that instant burst of clarity impacted the people at Starbucks? It was like a shock to the system. All of a sudden, employees, managers, baristas, all throughout Starbucks started seeing falling apples everywhere they turned, in the way they merchandised their stores, in the way they poured espresso shots, in the way they built connections with their customers. And during that year of wonders for Starbucks, they unleashed a torrent of coffee-based innovation, which brought them back to their best year ever 4 years in a row. So what I wonder right now is, what are your breakfast sandwiches? Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what brings us to the third and final part of the decision framework, which is to rent the RV. Rent the RV, as in rent it before you decide to buy it. Renting the RV is all about starting small before betting big. It's about testing your gut rather than blindly trusting your gut. And it's also how you, each and every one of you, can continue being the diligent and responsible steward of the customers, the team members, and resources with which you've been entrusted, while also being the bold and creative leader that your community, your business, your family, and quite honestly, our world needs you to be at this moment in history. But let's forget about my story. Let's forget about Isaac Newton, and let's talk about you for a second. I want you to think about an achievement that you're really proud of in your life. Maybe as a leader, as a salesperson, a student, an athlete, a parent, a musician. Okay, so some kind of achievement that you really sort of hang your hat on is something that gives you a lot of pride. Okay, got one in mind? Now, I can almost guarantee that if we were to trace the timeline of your achievement, every single one of you, we would find that that great achievement was immediately preceded by a season of change and uncertainty. And now let's bring that to bear on your current situation. And what if all those questions you're mulling over in your mind right now? What if that heightened state of arousal that sometimes snaps your eyelids open in the wee hours of the morning, what if those are not symptoms of your struggles, but they are actually signs that you are standing right on the cusp of your next great achievement, your next big growth spurt, your next year of wonders? Not in spite of the change, but precisely because of it.